Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome to InnerViews, the podcast where we dive deep into the realms of therapy, healing, and intentional living. I'm your guide on this adventure, Ivory. Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey with me? Whether you're navigating the complexities of trauma, embracing intentional parenting, or seeking self-help strategies, this podcast is your sanctuary. InnerViews is not just a podcast, it's a community. A safe space where stories unfold and healing takes center stage. Your story matters. And here, courageous storytelling is the heartbeat of our existence. We'll be exploring powerful themes like healing, navigating the intricacies of foster care, the strength found in survival, the beauty of reclamation, and the pure bliss of joy. So if you're ready to join hands with a community that understands, subscribe now. Let's walk this path together because the journey toward understanding and well-being starts right here, right now. Welcome to InnerViews, where every step is a celebration of your resilience and a testament to the incredible strength within you. Let's make this journey unforgettable. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you all for tuning in again to InnerViews. My name is Ivory Bennett, and I'm super excited for today's guest. We have Christina Abraham. I'm so excited for you to be here, cousin.
Hey,
How are you
cuz.
today?
I'm good. It's been a long day, but I'm so excited to come and speak today.
Yes, it has been a long day, and you have some exciting news that you should probably share with our audience, right?
Oh, yes, I got accepted into a coding program by Codesmith, so your girl will be learning how to be a full stack developer.
Y'all heard it here first. Okay, we're looking at a future tech giant. So we are starting precedent for that. And congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. I don't think that as people with lived child welfare experience, we celebrate our wins enough. And so I just want to highlight and uplift that to be proud of yourself and that I'm proud of you
Thank you.
too. So now that we have celebrated you just in the slightest, can you tell our audience, who are you? Who's Christina Abraham?
Hi, I am Christina Abraham. I am a young woman navigating this world. I'm someone who's very enthusiastic and passionate about social issues, whether that be criminal justice issues, whether that be foster care awareness and conversations about that, being someone who spent 20 plus years in the foster care system, whether that's just the day to day issues that impact our society, it just really resonates big with me. I am somebody who is a lover of animals and food. I'm a foodie. And I'm just someone who's happy to be here today. I'm grateful for the day.
I'm grateful for you to be here too. Do you have any pets, by the way? I don't know
I
this.
have two cats named Sapphire and Jade.
Oh, I love those names. Okay, I'm coming around to cats. I wasn't always a cat person, but
Me neither.
I'm coming around to
You
them.
have to earn their love and trust. Like, dogs just blatantly love you. Cats are like, okay, I think I like you. Yeah, dogs are too easy. Cats make you work for it.
Oh my goodness. Well, maybe I don't need a cat because I don't want to work for love anymore. That's neither here nor there. Thank you so much, Christina, for telling us a little bit about who you are. Can you talk to us in a little bit more detail, but feel free to share as much or as little as you feel comfortable, your experience with the child welfare system? You mentioned you were in care for 20 plus years, like OMG.
Yeah.
Goodness. What would you like to tell us about that?
So I was taken away from my mother when I was about like 2.5, and I was first put in kinship care. So for those who may not be familiar, that's where you live with a family member, your kin, and you start out there. So I definitely lived with my aunt for a good portion of my life. I was in and out of care though. I was returned back to my mom when I was 6, taken away again when I was 8, returned back when I was 13, taken away again when I was 13, returned back when I was 16, taken away again when I was 17. So I spent a lot of time in care. I aged out completely at the age of 21. So the majority of like the life that I could remember has been
Mm-hmm.
in the system. When I was 13, I ended up transitioning out of kinship care into what you would consider regular foster care, which is living with people who you really don't know, going from home to home. So I did that from about like 13 all the way up until 21.
So many similarities in our story. You're in a different state than I was, but I was kind of like that too. We bounced in and out of care. We'd live with our mom for like, 6 months, 8 months, and then she'd get sick again because she has mental illness. And we'd end up back in foster care. And it was just kind of like this yo-yo experience that hopefully a lot of people coming up behind us in the child welfare system don't experience. But at the same time, and I don't know how you feel about this, I'm hesitant to say that because what ends up replacing that cycle is this failed adoption epidemic that we see. And so we have kids, youth who are experiencing the child welfare system. There's this push for permanency from foster parents or other people in their lives or in their communities. They get adopted, right? But then a year and a half, 2 years later, the adoption fails and they end up right back in child welfare, or they end up in the juvenile justice system, or they end up in some unhealthy group care dynamic. Changes need to occur. And
110%. I'd say, like, as I've experienced, kinship care, regular foster care, treatment facilities, group homes, I've experienced a myriad of types of living arrangements that you can have when you're in care, respite homes, like all of that. It's a little saddening when you come across other people who have, like, as you get into those different areas and you're like, man, like this is a repeated cycle that we're all getting put through the ringer and none of us are coming out unscathed. Like none of us. Even the success stories, the golden children, none of us are coming out better at the end of it.
Like I thank you for sharing that because that is something that I really try to stress in my advocacy work. You also do a lot of advocacy work as well, but like I really want and hope people understand that no one gets to leave child welfare unscathed. Everyone is scarred and impacted in some capacity. Being removed from your family, in my opinion, both personally and professionally, is going to be unavoidably traumatic. Right. And so just dealing with that alone, and for those of us who are quote unquote successful, whatever that means, does that mean that we have education? I don't know. Does that mean that we make money? I don't know. Does that mean that we're on the outside, we have a facade of success? Whatever that means, we have to unpack the lived experiences that brought. And it is difficult. And I can tell you, so I'm 33, I'll be 34 in a few weeks. So I've been aged out since I was 21. Let's do some math. So we're going on, what, 13 years of being aged out? I'm still unpacking elements of my survival skills from being in foster care. All this time later, almost a decade and a half later, I'm still actively working to unpack my trauma responses. I'm still actively working to feel safe. I'm still dealing with chronic health issues. Like, no, and I'm quote unquote successful, right? So no one gets out of this unimpacted. Let's hop into our questions, shall we? So, can you elaborate on how restorative justice principles can be applied to support individuals who have experienced the child welfare system, particularly in terms of healing from past traumas and rebuilding a sense of community?
I definitely do believe that there needs to be, like, the first thing that comes to my head is mental health support, right? Because I believe it is a fact that you cannot be ripped away from everything you've ever known and placed in a completely different environment and not experience trauma, PTSD, and mental scarring from said occurrence. Like, it's just not possible. And I feel as, especially the people who age out of foster care, we don't have the support system a lot of times to be able to unpack everything that we've just gone through. And by the time you're 21, everybody looks at you like, okay, well, you're an adult now. You're supposed to be able to just, go on with your life. But the transition is so abrupt, so rough, so harsh. You've never even really been able to acclimate yourself to life as it was supposed to be, let alone as it is about to be, until like it's really like too late. And then when you unpack these things or you understand these trauma responses, it's probably because you've already exhibited some of the bad behaviors and stereotypes and internalizations that come from having all of that being untreated. So I definitely believe that a mental health package and whatever that may look like, because some people do not resonate with therapy. Some people, that is not their go-to. Therapy is not for everybody, and there's different kinds of therapy. I know when I looked into therapy, I was told as somebody who's like highly self-aware, right? So sometimes the traditional level of therapy, when you're just like talking to somebody, they're giving you the input of what they think you should do, that might not be as helpful for somebody like me because I've already internalized that and I already kind of know what I have to do. It's everything else that happens on the back end. And so sometimes there's other ways of therapy, other outlets, other creative outlets that people can use to help them come to terms with what they've gone through. Because until you really are able to unpack everything that you've been through, it will always be there, a weight on your shoulder, a skeleton in your closet, a shadow behind you that just holds you back from your true self actualization. And so I definitely believe that mental health services is number one. Number two is that community. We are in to be a foster kid is to have a fractured community, to not have stable roots, to not have a community that you've been in for the past 17, 18 years, a place that you've been in for the past 17, 18 years, because to be a foster kid is to have a lack of stability. That is something that we all can probably resonate with. And so not having that community, especially when you look out at your peers, adults around you, and none of them have been through what you've been through. None of them have lives that look like yours. When you go home at the end of the day, none of the people around you can resonate with that. When you go to school, none of the kids at school know what you're going through. And if they do, they couldn't tell you the slightest thing about it. I mean, you both are going through the same thing. You both are young and learning. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't. And so having that lack of community, even within foster children themselves, because I know when I was younger, I was ashamed of being a foster child. I had spent the time, divulging to my guidance counselor. And one of the kids in my school walked in and heard me talk about how, I didn't live with my mom and like the feelings from that. And I was bullied about that. And it was something that was really traumatic for me because I felt like, I didn't even want to say this because it's hard to be like, oh, well, yeah, I don't live with my mom or my dad. So then you'll get things like, oh, your parents don't want you, your parents don't love you, and stuff like that. And that can be very traumatic for a young kid to unpack, especially as we know, children, we internalize everything. Like we are quick to be like, oh, no, that was my fault. Or even it has nothing to do with them. Yeah. They are quick to be like, it was me. It was something that had to do with me. So to have that kind of be confirmed by outside biases, especially to hurt you, goes back to the mental health. But the lack of community and being able to see people who look like you, sometimes it makes you feel like you're the only one going through this. And as I got older, I was fortunate enough to be in a lot of healing circles and trauma-informed trainings. Shout out to the Institute for Transformative Mentoring at New School Parsons. That was something that I attended when I was about like 16. And I really attribute to my view on life, my maturity, the way that I was able to grow from being able to understand and unpack those things that come up and having people that sit there in a group with you and you can all share and you can all be like, oh man, okay, so it wasn't just me. So you went through this. So this resonates with you too. It allows you to not only feel alone, it allows you to feel seen, it allows you to feel heard, it allows you to build community, family. I still have people from that time that I still talk to this day. They are my family, biological or not. Mm-hmm. And so definitely having those outlets to be able to join with other foster youth, former foster youth, current, even to be able to uplift each other. And so we can talk about the things that we go through so we can heal, because who else is going to heal us better than us? Mm-hmm. No one understands the depth of the pain. So nobody's going to understand how to heal it. Unfortunately, there are no foster care doctors.
Christina, like, who told you to come this hard today? I'm like, what? Girl, oh my, you said so many. Self-actualization, yes, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like so important. And I think that uh, I'm just going to try to remember all the bullet points that I pulled from what you just shared. So often, so many of us are trapped at that bottom level. And I know that they've restructured that pyramid, but for lack of a better words, I'm going to reference the pyramid that goes from like the bottom to the top.
Mhm.
And so many of us are stuck, whether we're currently or formerly engaged in child welfare, at that very bottom level of the pyramid where there were basic needs like have you eaten, have you slept, just those carnal needs that
You have a
all
home.
right. Do you have a home? Right. And so many of us are there. And I think that so many of the services provided before, during, and after child welfare engagement are at that level too, right? But then there are a lot of us who move up that pyramid. But the further you go up, the less supports there are. The further you go up, the less people care because let's be honest, you're less of a problem typically the further that you go up that pyramid. And so when you move towards, the closer you move towards self-actualization, the lonelier it gets and the less supported it is. And I think that that is something that definitely needs to change. You also mentioned like fractured community. And I think that immediately reminded me of like the blessing and curse of social media and the blessing and curse of being a national advocate. Right? Because, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I've been having an existential crisis lately. I'm like, nothing I do matters. Like, it just doesn't, I'm not getting paid enough. I'm not getting respected enough. I don't feel appreciated enough for anything that I do. And it's moments like this that kind of reorient me back into why I show up to do this work. And it is because somewhere, someone who looks like us, who sounds like us, who's had an experience like us is going to stumble upon this conversation. They're going to stumble upon our social media. They're going to stumble upon something that we've written or something that we're speaking and we're sharing our experiences authentically and candidly, and we're being vulnerable with hopes of changing the system for better. And they're going to see themselves in us and they're going to be encouraged and they're going to keep going. They're going to keep making that choice to try, even just for a little bit. That's why I show up as an advocate to do this work. It's not for the money, it's not for the fame, because none of that is happening. But it's to be a cousin. I jokingly say that all the time, right? That everyone in child welfare is my cousin, but I really do feel that that is kind of like a built-in aspect of this community. Like, yes, we are separated by counties and experiences and age and distance and time in a lot of ways. But also, I don't know about you. I could probably say about 98, 97% of the people I meet who have lived experience, whether it be current or former, there's just that understanding and that connection immediately.
That like solidarity, like
Exactly.
I will never forget. I'm sitting in a group of all former foster children, and somebody brings up the garbage bags, and we all have like a visceral like
Mm,
reaction, like,
mhm,
oh, the
mhm,
bags.
mhm,
And the
mhm.
way that we still, some in more ways than others, keep our stuff in bags and transport our stuff in the bags and
That
bag
part,
up our things and stuff
that
like that.
part.
And
Mhm.
so even that, like, and I've never met any of these people before. I don't know what's happening in your life, nor your mine. Your story in foster care is completely different than mine. But as soon as we mentioned those garbage bags, it was like chills went down all of our spines because we already knew. And so
Mhm.
that level of just like understanding, and that example and plenty of others, how we just understand, how we just get it. Like we don't even have to elaborate on it. You know what I mean by the garbage bags. And we never even talked about this before. Like you
Mhm.
get it.
Mhm.
I get it. Everyone in the room got it. And if
Yep.
you were in foster care and you hear it, I'm sure you understand it as well.
It doesn't matter how different you are from that person, like politically, academically, culturally, you can be so different, but there are those key connections. It's like you understand what it's like to be swept out of your familiar place in the middle of the night with a garbage bag. Or the other part of that is you understand what it's like to have nothing. I remember a lot of transitions where I had not a toothbrush, not a sock, not a teddy bear. I
A
had barely
penny,
anything,
like
but
nothing.
nothing, nothing. I, I'm getting used to decorating. This is my living room kitchen wall. It's a blank. Because I'm still learning. Oh, I can decorate my places. I can get comfortable and put things up to make this feel like home. Because how many times in foster care were we in someone else's home space and it wasn't ours to decorate and there was no reason to decorate and we didn't even have our own designated area to call our own.
That resonates really firmly with me because I never had a mirror, right? So the only time I would see myself would be brushing my teeth in the morning or when you're like in the bathroom doing whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize how that impacted me until I realized, I never really took pictures. Like if I closed my eyes and I wanted to visualize my face, like I really couldn't even do it because I never really even looked at myself because I never even had a mirror. So when I first got into my apartment, I bought myself a big, wide, full length mirror because I never had it. And, do I look at myself in the mirror as much as I mean, I guess I could. No, but do I have it? Yes. So just sometimes even those little things of like not having a mirror, and as I would get older, especially in college, I would just be like, damn, I can't even visualize what my own face looks like. Like I don't even really take pictures of myself. I don't even look at myself. Like it's just my connection with me had been stunted by something as simple as not even having a mirror. And so that really goes to kind of like what you were saying earlier. As you leave, you don't really understand all the ways that you've been impacted until you do. And then it goes back to something as little as having a mirror. Imagine everything else. Everything else I didn't get, and how that shows itself up in ways that I haven't even unpacked yet. I'm 1.5 years out. I'm about to be two come August. Mid August, I will be 2 years out of foster care, and I'm still like seeing things.
And why does it sound like you're talking about getting out of jail?
Like it is. We were a ward of the state.
It feels
Weren't
like a
we?
bid, doesn't it? That's what they say. I've never been to jail, but it feels like we got out of something. Like we were
We
released
did.
from prison in some regard, and it should never ever freaking feel that way. And it's just so sad. But you said something like I'm trying to remember exactly what you said. I don't even recognize me. You said you didn't get the chance to even recognize yourself. And there's so many tiny little things that being in foster care, being in child welfare, whatever system you were engaged with, just strips from you and the general public. And I would even go on to argue that most people in child welfare, in terms of professionals, it completely doesn't register for them that that is not a normal part of being in the child welfare experience. And it could be little things like celebrating not just like your birthday, right? But celebrating the little wins, like getting an A on your report card and no one cares.
H.
Or getting an audition or, successfully trying out for a school team. And it's like another day, like no one cares at all. Or even let's just take it back, even like when we're younger, right? Learning how to swing by yourself and no one's there to see it. No one's there to celebrate it. Learning how to tie your own shoe and no one gives a darn. No one gives a darn. Or it's like being so adultified that you can't even remember when you
Yep.
first did your own shoe.
Literally. And when that comes to me is the first thing that I thought about is like death by 1,000 cuts, right? I feel like especially mentally,
Mm,
the small things turn into big things the longer they're able to fester, right?
mm,
And with me, even feeling pride in myself or anything that I've done, because when you said you can get an A and nobody cares, positive reinforcement is a thing. We know it, it's scientifically proven, right? So now we're not even disputing that.
yeah.
When you don't have that positive reinforcement, then it just becomes to be like, what do I get for doing it? It's like I'm darned if I do, darned if I don't. Nobody cares. And I remember the first time that the concept of self pride even came to me
Mm,
is when I was 18, running my own nonprofit. And we had taken some of our youth in our cohort to John Jay College to see, like, sometimes senators and stuff, they come and you have like the town halls and you can hear, and it was about the Close Records campaign. And we were teaching them there to teach them how they can be civically involved and everything like that. And somebody who was about 3 years older than me at the time, after the event, we had sat on the bench outside and she was just like, everything that you've done here has just really positively impacted me. And I'm so grateful to you. Do you feel proud of yourself? And that was the first time that self pride even crossed my mind. And even as I say it, it's like you were running your own nonprofit,
that's
doing things
amazing
for
as well.
people.
Like, hello, I was like, I don't even know that. Like, what the heck?
You were like
Like the fact that
doing
you just
all this
casually
stuff.
dropped that, Christina. I mean, when I had my own nonprofit when I was a teenager, girl, what?
Yeah, and it was just like, she was like, "Do you feel pride in yourself?" And it hit me like a bag of bricks, like
Yeah.
pride in myself.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I'll have to get back with you for that one. And I guess maybe, yeah. But not having that
Mm.
positive reinforcement or that good job when you do something. And it also leads to, like, I guess a coping mechanism of mine was just move forward. No matter what happens, you just move forward. Bad, good, whatever, you have to just move forward because nobody's coming to save the day. You still got school tomorrow. You still have responsibilities. You just have to move forward. And even with my accomplishments, to me, it was just moving forward. And this is something I still struggle with today. Like, I mean, I just got into a coding internship. There was 1,600 applications, and I'm one of the few people that got in.
And congratulations again.
Thank you. But does it resonate with me? I would be lying if I said, yeah. Like, do I feel like, oh my gosh?
Right.
No, I'm just like, okay, I'll start on Monday. Like, I'm just moving forward. And that is something that I still am trying to unpack and separate the bricks and, get down to the nitty gritty and be like, listen, you need to celebrate yourself and be happy and feel it and resonate it and
Yeah.
jump for joy, eureka. But I'm still going through those motions.
It takes time. It takes time, Christina. And I only say that because I'm still on that journey myself. What you're talking to, I feel like it breeds largely one of two groups of people. So it breeds the group that you mentioned where it's like, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter anyway. But then it can also breed, it's never good enough. It's never enough. Oh, I have my own nonprofit as a teenager. It's not enough. Oh, I got into an Ivy League college. It's not enough. Oh, I'm a doctor. It's not enough. Oh, I have a husband who loves me. It's not enough. Oh, I make a lot of money. It's not enough. Right. And so these are the issues, quote unquote, that like these successful, for lack of a better terms, people who have experienced the child welfare system end up grappling with. Because personally, I know people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're successful. They have their own organizations, their own businesses, they're doctors, they have PhDs, they have completed dissertations, they're respected in whatever fields that they've studied. And I can tell deep down inside that they're not happy, they're not fulfilled. And that those are the consequences. That is what happens when you age out of foster care and you're quote unquote successful and you're underserviced and you're not adequately prepared for the rest of your life because we don't die when we age out. We continue to live, a lot of us. And so how do we live? To the best of our abilities. And most of us are going to stay in our survival mode. I could talk to you all day.
110%. Literally.
We have to move on, okay? We have to move on. I'm going to skip one of our questions. I'm going to go to the third question. So, in your opinion, what role should government agencies, nonprofit organizations, community stakeholders play in collaboratively designing and implementing restorative justice initiatives tailored to the unique needs of individuals impacted by the child welfare system? So, thinking about all that we've talked about, thinking about not only while you're in foster care or juvenile justice, but also when you age out, also after you've aged out, right? Because it's like they forget about us. They kick us to the curb. And what happens is one of two things again, right? Either people are fed into other systems, so they transition from the juvenile justice system to the adult incarceration system, or they transfer from foster care to, mental health facilities, or they have children who are then cycled back again through the child welfare system. Cycles feeding themselves, cycles of oppression, cycles of broken homes and broken families and broken people repeating over generations. So, with that in mind, I guess, what would be your opinion on the role that government agencies, nonprofits, and community stakeholders should play in addressing that to move towards restorative justice for those impacted by care?
The first thing that came to my mind is I believe they all have a different level of responsibility. Because sometimes I see, and from working and being in the nonprofit sphere since the age of 16, I've really seen that sometimes when a nonprofit or a community stakeholder does so much, then that leads the government, let's say, to do less. Because they know that, you know what, I can just push this off on them because they got it. So I don't have to do it. And it never goes out well. I feel like the majority of the responsibility lies with the people who we are under their care. We are under the care of the government from the second we are taken away from our guardians, our family. These are the people who are responsible for us. So the same way the government looks to your guardian, anybody else's guardian, to be fully responsible, fully culpable, and fully take care of any youth is the same way I'm going to look at them. They need to be at the forefront of this because they are at the forefront of this. All the trauma, all everything that stems from that, that is their responsibility as per their own agreement. So everything restoratively that needs to get done has to be pushed by them. Nonprofits, nonprofits are always there to help, to add. And in the name, do that. Sometimes there's a lot of problems that happen with, when you get a nonprofit that's funded $1 billion and 999 million go to operational costs, and then you have like a sprinkle that goes into like a Thanksgiving drive and a back to school book bag.
Like, controversial now.
I might have to clock somebody's tea, but that's
Tell the
we
truth.
need to
Tell the truth, honey.
get back to really doing things at the grassroots level that
Yeah.
can give large scale change
Yeah.
and support. Because honestly, it's the way that the government works. There's a lot of bureaucratic red tape and other people to talk to. And by the time anything gets done, it went through 57,000 hands over 57,000 years and takes $57 million. So, sometimes certain issues, it's easier for nonprofits to tackle because of the way that it can just be a lot more streamlined.
Mhm.
And in that, I do believe that they can work and the government can work in conjunction with nonprofits. It's not like you have to reinvent the wheel. And a lot of times, they do, but there needs to be a lot more lived experience people at the forefront of this. Because a lot of times when I get into these rooms and I look at their executives and the people that are at the top, none of them have lived experience. So you have a lot of well wishes, but you don't have a lot of information. I mean, I wouldn't ask somebody who got their plumbing degree from Google to come and fix something for me when I'm looking at a real problem. I want somebody who's seasoned just like anybody else does. But sometimes when it comes to social issues, we look at that like completely out the door and we just leave that by the wayside, and anybody with $2 to rub together and a so-called good intention is able to come in and do whatever, bias or no bias.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Are you familiar with that song, The Road to Hell is Paved with Good Intentions?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it surely is because I've been in the room with some people and, their savior complexes come out and all of that. And it's like, hold on now.
Talk about it.
You are
Talk about it.
nobody's Lord and Savior.
Ooh, talk
And so
about it.
that and sometimes it's offensive because, it's like, if you're not doing this to continue to be on a learning path on what this looks like for people who live this life
Yeah.
and how you and whatever you stand for can be an ally, a supporter of that, then you are not in it for the right reasons.
Mm.
Community should always be community. And I feel like, as we said, there's a lack of community with foster children. So all the community stakeholders should do their best to be there for the kids. Show up. Show up. I'm not saying it has to be a 501c3 expertly coordinated PhD backed program. I'm saying just show up sometimes.
Just be
Just
consistent.
showing up, being there, being a mental break for youth that who just wants that connection, who just wants that, even if you think that we don't, we do.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
like they said, don't come to no cat backed in the corner. It's gonna scratch you.
Mhm.
Whether the cat needs help, whether it's injured, whether it's sick, whether it's completely fine, anybody with their back against the wall is not going to be running towards the first person they see, like, oh, you know,
And if they
take your
are, it's probably
shot.
a trauma response, like those little kids in third
Exactly.
world countries, for lack of a better words, because I know we're using new terminology now, but
Hmm.
underdeveloped countries who will go up and hug tourists. It's a trauma response. That's not a normal response for kids who are in healthy family dynamics. So, like, you are just like on fire tonight.
Thank you. I was hoping I like answered
You're
the
on
question
fire
correctly.
tonight. Like, it's just
But
too
yeah,
much.
to sum it up, I think the government needs to step up.
Mm,
1,000% more.
mhm,
I think they need to be a lot more diligent, a lot more careful, to check a lot more. Like one of
yeah,
the things that I went over in my board is the fact that when you're in foster care here in New York, you have a foster care bill of rights that is
mhm,
supposed to be read to you starting at the age of 13,
mm.
right? What before, if you're in care before that, are they supposed to be read to you? I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. But starting at the age of 13, you're supposed to read and sign it.
Mm,
And it's supposed to be every 6 months. Now, why do every person we come across, n- like 99% of them didn't even know said document existed, let alone that they had to sign it. So if this is something that is in your own like words that this is supposed to be signed, where's the paper trail? Who's
mm,
checking up to make sure it's signed? Who's making sure these kids know what their basic rights are,
mm,
let alone anything else?
mm.
So if these things are not happening, imagine what else is not happening. I mean, we don't have to imagine. This is for everybody else.
We know.
Exactly. But for everybody else, imagine what's not happening. And so, in
Right.
that, the government needs to step up 1,000%. Nonprofits need to be there to organize and to make sure that we're actually really doing and using the majority of our resources to give back. We should just be a pass through. We should not be somebody to be hoarding the resources to be having. If a nonprofit has $0 because they gave all of them away to their proposed demographic, great job. Like you've done a phenomenal job because that means that we can actually say that these people have received this from that.
Mm.
And we are just a pass through, an intermediary. We don't even hold anything. And community stakeholders, I don't know where they were at when I was in foster care, no shade, but
Like that. Who are they?
I don't know who you are.
Stand up if you
Yeah,
feel you.
stand up, make yourself known, please. Like,
If you're in the room, let us know.
yeah, that's my sentiment to you because I can't even begin to comment because I didn't even know you
Oh
existed.
goodness.
I mean, so stand up, make yourself known, and
Yeah.
just be there because that's sometimes that's as easy as it is as being there, being somebody who can just be like, you know what, I'm here.
What I hear from that is that allies need to be louder and they need to be more aggressive in their support and um, presence for the community. What you said brought to mind something that I've been grappling with as of late. And I think that when it comes to reform, when it comes to making the system better, although I'm somewhat of the mind that we need to abolish child welfare, but that's another conversation for another day. But I've been thinking in terms of like, how can I advocate or how can I speak on this issue? And I want to shift kind of the rhetoric from thinking of things in terms of good and bad and start to shift to, is something safe or unsafe? Is something healthy or unhealthy for you? And that kind of needs to be our guiding star. Like that needs to be our North Star. Is this safe for children and families? Is this healthy for children and families? And if it's not, how do we address it? How do we change it? How do we make it better? How do we put protections in place that are not only culturally competent, but that are proactive in making sure that children and families get what they need? My goodness, it's such a good conversation. You know,
One
when
of
you're
the
cooking
things that
food and you're
come
like,
to
oh,
mind,
this is really, really good.
yeah,
You start eating it before dinner's done and
I
you're
know, like, oh, when you said that, one of the things that came to my mind was just streamlining the accessibility to change. Like, it's so hard to change anything because I don't know who thought about whatever this was, but they seem to have made it with titanium shackles because the second you try to even change anything, it's like you
Mhm,
can't do anything. We need to
mhm,
eradicate all the barriers to change and make it a lot easier to
mhm,
come to new solutions. That's not saying that everything we enact is going to be perfect, everything we enact is going to be right. But if we have that line, that open line of streamlining for change, if it's wrong, we can change it.
mhm,
We need to start somewhere because where we're at right now is not beneficial. It's not beneficial for me. It's not beneficial for the people who came before me. And it's not beneficial for the people that are in after me. It's
mhm,
just not.
mm. I was speaking with an advocate the other day, and they said something along the lines of, just to paraphrase, that the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and that is to be oppressive. And I think that we as advocates, we as people doing this work, we as people who influence change, whether it be personal, professional, political, legislative, whatever, we need to be honest and upfront about how our foundation is leaky. And perhaps it needs to be ripped up and redone, reestablished. The system is oppressive because it was designed to be oppressive. The system is cyclical because it was designed to be cyclical. And until we acknowledge that systemically and institutionally, we're going to keep spinning our wheels in the mud.
That's the thing. I think we all understand that for better terms, but I think this then raises the real question of now who wants to undo it?
Mhm.
Is this something that you truly want to undo, or is this just something that you just want to keep feeding the people? Oh, yeah, I want to do it just so we can continue to move around in those circles. Like, that's the thing, right? Because we can talk until we're blue in the face. We can speak to anybody we need to speak to. We can go from DC to Albany to wherever. But if this is not something that truly people want to happen, and not by people, because we, the people, may want it to happen, but we, the people, are not the ones who make that choice at the end of the day. We live in a republic. We are not like out here making the decisions, us common folk. So it's like, if this really is something that is impactful, I mean, does the change really want it to happen? Because if it's not, then we will just continue to walk around in these circles. And I think also we as advocates need to understand that we cannot push ourselves to the brink, to the last edge for a system that we know is not trying to change. Like, if it isn't trying to change, we have to give ourselves some reprieve as well, because it's borderline insanity to keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results.
Christina, you're being radical right now. You are being radical right now because, girl, what? Oh my goodness. I mean, no. And it just also points me in the direction of like, we know they're advocates, right? Who make it big, quote unquote. They're the ones who Oprah invites to have conversations. They're the ones who get to stand next to presidents and make addresses on national TV platforms and social media stances and all that. And it almost sometimes feels like they forget what they showed up to do. Or they get financially comfortable and then they get a little bit lax in their perspectives. Or they
Things
become
get to be
bored down.
performative, and like it gets to be, now it's not about us, it's about impressing them. Because once you become a mouthpiece, you start as a mouthpiece for us, but then you become a mouthpiece for them. And then you want to keep being a mouthpiece for them because that's what's getting you your 5-star life. This is not, we don't have no glitter and gold. We didn't come from no glitter and gold. So as much as the grassroots may want to love you and thank you and push you up, what resources do we have to do so? The people who have the resources to push you up are the same people keeping everybody else down. No shade. So it's like, what are you to do except, be real? And that's why I'm very big on resources that we cultivate ourselves. If we are not cultivating the resources, we are dependent on somebody else. And their resources, what they give us, is dependent on how they feel. And we should never let a group of underserved, like like innocent, beautiful people be determined by people who can care less about what truly happens to them. Like that in no other way of life, in no other walk of life, and nothing else would that be the go-to. So why is it here? I mean, I guess only they can answer that question.
We, people like you, people like me who are doing this work and who are somehow maintaining our authenticity, who show up with a level of self-understanding and self-awareness and continual growth, we give me hope when things feel bad, when things feel like it doesn't matter, it's not making a difference. Because I know that one day we will have institutional power and pull. I know that when we have the resources to share with our communities, we're going to do that. I also know that we're not going to bring ourselves down in that process, or we're not going to martyr ourselves to make improvements or make betterments for other people. And so I just feel excited for the journey to see what we do as individuals, as advocates, as interdisciplinary advocates too, right? Because I'm not of the mindset that everyone who goes through child welfare needs to have a social work degree. Like, stop it.
I
Stop
need to
it.
be obtaining one.
Stop it. No, we are not going to go get social work degrees. That is not what we have to do. Okay.
Absolutely not.
No, and I think that also it just brings a refreshing and a more informed perspective to the work of advocacy if you are interdisciplinary in terms of your advocacy. And so we need people to go out there and to become estheticians. We need people who are going to go out there and become medical doctors. We need people who are going to go and study science. We need people who are going to be English majors. We need writers. We need athletes who can go out and live their lives for themselves, do things that bring them joy and soul fulfillment and passion, and then bring that success and that energy and that vibrancy to the work of advocacy. And to show kids and people experiencing the child welfare system and teenagers and young adults, and even those who have aged out a long time ago, anything's possible.
Of course,
Right.
the first person that came to my mind was Brie. Shout out to Brianna Hayes. She
Yeah,
cooks, man. Follow
she
her, you guys. Chef
yeah,
Brie on
yeah.
Instagram. But she cooks, and that's her thing. And
And
she
I'm
does
here.
that and gives back to all the youth by teaching them how to cook wonderful culinary meals, 5-star, 3-course meals. And so she doesn't need to be a social worker to show people that what's possible, like, and to show them that this is not like, and sometimes I feel like when people say that social worker thing, it's like, you want my life just to be this? This is all you want my life to be? Like, I have to live and die by this? It wasn't even my choice to come here originally.
Like it wasn't
I
enough
just
for me to
gotta,
experience it from the inside out, but then you want me
like,
to be chained and shackled to it with a degree?
like
Like,
forever. Like, wow. I just can't live my life for me. The choice was made before me, before I could even make a choice. And now I can't, I just gotta, that's just gotta be the bed I lie in, the bed that y'all made me. No.
we're resisting that narrative. We go out and study whatever your heart desires, and it doesn't have to be a traditional path either. Do what brings you fulfillment, do what feeds you. Okay. Take care of yourself,
First.
make good decisions in that regard. But we do not all have to be social workers. Like, cut it out.
Yeah, no. I'm
Out.
rebuking that.
We're gonna cut it out. We're not, we're not doing. I just remember feeling like groomed almost to like, be encouraged to study. It's like, get out of here. Get all the way out of here. Because not only did I go through 17 years in the child welfare system, but then you want me to, and I didn't even, my degree wasn't free. Okay. I'm not even gonna
Okay.
talk about that right now. I have loans from my degree, undergrad. So not only did they want me to get a social work degree, but y'all wanted me to pay for it too. Like, cut it all the way out.
Oh no. And I think it's actually for their best interest. Because if I go through 20 plus years of living experience and spend X amount of dollars on a social work degree, and I have somebody with no lived-in experience trying to tell me what to do, I'll be looking at them like they're 50 shades of stupid. Because who are you to tell me anything? If I did go get this degree, I'm more qualified than anybody in the room. No tea, no shade. Like,
You know what? And I'm going to uplift. That's why we also need to pay lived experts whenever we engage them in this work, because between the two of us, we have almost 40 years of lived experience in the child welfare system. Anyone else in any other discipline with 40 plus years of experience, they would get a certain level of respect. They would get a certain level of financial support and payment. They would get a certain treatment whenever they're invited into spaces. They would be honored. They would be revered, right? And so we need to have that same mindset when dealing with lived experts, when inviting them in to do work, when calling upon their expertise. In whatever way we call upon them, we need to be willing to compensate them, to respect them, and to have gratitude in how we work with them. I just want to stop here and say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, cousin. Because this conversation, I've had a long day. I've been working almost 12 hours. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to show up for Christina today. But this has been such an enriching, beautiful conversation, and it is incredibly inspirational to me. I'm going to skip all the way to my final questions. I ask these questions to all of my lived expert guests. Okay, there are three questions because I feel like we've touched on a lot, and I really don't want to get into anything else because I want our listeners to really be able to sit with all that we've just shared, right? We could have talked about that stuff for like hours and hours and hours.
Literally.
And so I want them to be able to digest it, to take it back to their circles, to take it back to their practices, to marinate on it, take a nap, go to bed, wake up, come up with some questions on their own, maybe email us to collaborate, to do some work. Or
Okay.
reach out to us. We'll put our information in the show notes for y'all. But as we wrap up this conversation, and this is going to be the first of many conversations, because for real, cousin, I have plans for you.
I love to talk. Cause I'm here.
Listen, okay. So we have three questions that I like to ask all of our lived expert guests. And the first is, what changes do you hope to see in the child welfare system in your lifetime, Christina?
In my lifetime, I would like to see more dissemination of information in resource hubs. That's what I really want to see in my lifetime for the child welfare system. I want every child to be informed about what they're in, what they deserve, what they can get, what their outlets are, if they need something, where they can go. I want them to be able to be supported. I want them, if they're not, to know where to go, what to do, who to speak to. Because even if we cannot make it better, if we are able to let them know, here's what you can have. And if you do have a problem, here's what you, your community stakeholders, your nonprofits, your government, here's what we are all willing to do for you to rectify that. Even if nothing was to change, if we had so much more information and more resources, that would change everything.
Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, our second to last question. So, overall, what advice do you have for people with lived experience in general?
You are living. You are literally alive. Like, this is a journey that we're taking, and that every single day it's going to be different. I mean, I had an attitude 5 hours ago, and I am like speaking about this now. Like, our journeys are not linear. We are entitled to feel however we feel whenever we choose to feel it. And we want to live and not survive. We have survived for long enough. We have to do things to honor ourselves, even if nobody else is going to do it. We have to be there for ourselves, reach out with each other just to be there, get in touch with who we are, meditate, self-center, because we need it. If there's anybody who needs it, it's us. And if there's anybody who's going to be for us, it is us. And it's not easy. It's easier said than done, but we have to do something to get anything.
What a beautiful reminder to be present. Because I feel like people will talk to people with lived experience like in future tense or in past tense, but rarely are we addressed and encouraged to be fully present in this moment. And I think sometimes that's literally all we have. But I think that for people who are experiencing like active moments of crisis mentally and emotionally, that is such a critical and crucial reminder of being present and the gift and beauty of that. So thank you for sharing that. And last but not least, and I just want to just pause again and share so much heartfelt gratitude towards you because you have inspired me tonight. You have
Aw.
invigorated me. Times have been difficult. Life is hard, honey. I don't always feel like what I'm doing matters or makes sense. And I definitely don't get paid enough for it. And I definitely don't get respected enough for it. So when I say that you have encouraged me, I'm truly grateful. And I really I'm so excited for the beauty of the person that you already are and that I know, but for the chance to get to know and grow alongside you as well. And I'm here to support you and be a part of your community in whatever ways that I can. And I'm a little bit older than you. So anything that I can do to share my experience with you or to support you, please do let me know.
Thank you, cuz I just want to say, like, you have been really helpful to me as well, from the writing workshops, just bringing me out of my own head and giving me the space to be there and be authentically myself with somebody who understands just your way of understanding, your way with words, how like emotionally intelligent you are, to not only with yourself but interacting with everyone I've seen you interact with. It's not only inspiring to know that we have similar stories and you are a phenomenal human being. And I know that every day that it's not easy. It's not easy for me now. I'm sure it's not easy for you. I'm sure somebody who's 70, it's not easy for them. But like the way that you go through it so gracefully and still giving opportunities to people like me who have been in places that you have been in and just lifting us up. I'm just grateful for you.
Oh, thank you, little cousin. I appreciate you. Okay, my final question. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Who are you without the trauma of child welfare?
Me. Phenomenal. I'm me. Like I don't operate my life with trauma at the forefront. Thank God. I operate my life being my authentic self as I always have. Trauma or no trauma, I'm a person who is gonna be herself, state her opinion, be there for people, speak for everybody, even if they ask me not to. If I feel like, I'm me, and I will never let myself be defined by anything that has nothing to do with me. I brought myself out of everything that I've been through, and I have cultivated myself to be a person that I am proud of, that I am happy with, and that I go to sleep peacefully every night, knowing that I am me. And so I, without the trauma, am me.
Come on, somebody. You know what? On that note, thank you, Christina Abraham, and thank y'all for tuning in for today's conversation. I hope that it enriched your soul. I hope that you're thinking differently on anything that we've shared today. And if you have any comments or concerns, or if you would like to engage either one of us in the work that you're doing to better your practice with the child welfare system, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are so grateful for taking the time to listen, and we are so grateful for having you on InnerViews today. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
The InnerViews podcast is a production of the Safe Camp Audio Network, which is a division of Youth Voices Rising via Fostering Media Connections. Please visit safecampaudio.org on the web or Safe Camp Audio on all major social media. This podcast was produced and mixed by Christine Onjoko. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you consider sharing, subscribing, and or giving us a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcast.